So we're back with another exciting product, and this is the HDR 68. So it's from Umarex, it's from the T4E range. The HD on the box does stand for home defense, but depending on where you are in the world, that may or may not be legal to own it for those purposes. We're in the UK, so it's a no-no, and we've got our hands on the 7.5 joule version. There is a higher powered version, but because it's under 60 centimeters, we won't be using that one. So we're going to open the box. Let's have a look. And in the box, this huge hand cannon. I mean, it's enormous. So if you're familiar with the HDR50, this is like the HDR50, but on some serious growth hormones. It is big, even for a .68 pistol revolver. It's big, and you look at it. Similar features to the HDR50. There's a lot of polymer, so there's a lot of high quality polymer on it, and it does feel slightly cheaper in the hand than the HDR50 and some others out there. But I think that's just because there's just so much more material. First things first is it's powered by a 12 gram CO2, and that goes in the grip. We're using an empty one just to be on the safe side, but doesn't go that way, goes that way, like most of the other HD models out there. Simple case to activate it, just a quick bump, pierces it, it's ready to go. And what you will see when it has got a live 12 gram in there is you have an indicator pin there, like a purge pin there. It comes out, and then you know that the marker's live and ready to use. Also, this purge valve is quite handy if you need to get the gas out of the HDR 68 without firing it. So in here we have the Rotary magazines. HDR50 is 6, because this is much bigger. You can only squeeze 5 in there, so that holds 5 paintballs, or powder balls in this case, or you have first strike rounds. And loading's fairly straightforward. So with the paintballs, there's only one way it can load. So if you see, one side is small, almost like a 50 caliber size hole there, and the other side is where you put the 68 rounds. Very, very simple. Go in like that, push them in there. They're held in place. They're not going anywhere until you fire them out of the gun. With the first strike rounds, it's not too complicated, but you load them thin first, load them the other way, and they're going to fire the wrong way round. And that's how easy it is to load those. You only get one with the HDR 68, and only one's included. So it goes in like that, release, catch, goes back into place, and that's ready to fire. The other feature, very much similar to the HDR50, is you've got this sort of blade safety trigger, like double action trigger, so you can't accidentally pull it. It has to be a very, very deliberate pull. So, and then pull, and it's got a nice light trigger action. Really like that when we were shooting this. So we've got 20mm rails top and bottom, and they are long, so you could fit a scope on the top, you could fit a laser on the bottom. If you are playing with paintball, most paintball sites, lasers is a no-no. Let's have a look, see what it looks like. Tiny little thing here, which is your Raven red dot, perfect for small pistols or huge large revolvers. And there you go. There's your red dot on there. I mean, it may or may not be worth it. It does say in the Umarex's own specs that this will go 80 feet, and it might travel 80 feet, but effective range is more like 50. We're going to put our goggles on. We're going to go out back, and we're going to shoot this. But before we get our goggles on and go out the back, if you could hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, if you could subscribe and hit the notifications, we really, really appreciate it. So let's go and shoot it. So we've shot it, we used both powder balls and we used 68 first strike rounds. Overall, really impressed. Shot really nicely. It's very loud. It is very loud, so be warned. If you're in some sort of area where loud noises are going to bother people, this might not be for you. But yeah, at a distance of around 35-40 feet, it was hitting the target every time, roughly in the places where I was kind of pointing it at. What I will say is the first few shots out of the gun with a fresh 12 gram, you are getting what Umarex suggests you'll get, which is around about 250 FPS with this 7.5 dual versions. But you see a remarkable drop off after the first 3 or 4 shots. But then you see more consistency. So I would say the average is around about 220. So first 5 shots high, then you're looking at around about 220. Consistency was pretty good. So there wasn't a huge amount of variance. So, and the good thing about consistency is king. It means that one shot is going to land pretty much in the same place as another. What I would say is it's much hungrier in terms of air than the HDR 50. Let me just show you the differences between the two. Little brother is quite a bit smaller, although both are 7.5, so both the same power, and because this is firing a smaller projectile, you're getting around 30-40 FPS more out of this. The .50 cal flying faster. So yeah, they're the two. This returns about 50 per 12 gram, and this is probably, you're looking between 25 and 30. So it may be worth running this on a remote line. So to fit an aftermarket adapter, you just simply take your bump stop off. That comes out. Obviously you've got any 12 gram CO2 in there, take that out as well. And then this is the one from MCS. That simply just screws in there. And then you can, although it may look a little bit silly, probably not the best. Probably not the best way to run around with your pistol. You know, you can imagine it in a holster and boom. But better way would be fitting, using your tank, fitting a remote line, having that on a belt, in a pocket somewhere, and then that gives you a bit more freedom to shoot. And because you've got air, you're going to get a huge amount more shots. You know, you're talking hundreds rather than tens, and you're going to get better consistency. So that may be definitely, if you're using it in a paintball environment and you want to use it as a primary, then that is probably a good solution for you, and that will give you higher FPS, so closer to 250, and more consistency. It's been out for around about a month now, so we've been looking at the sort of feedback and what people have been saying about it. One thing, it is fussy on paint. First strikes fire, no problem at all, but it is fussy on paint, so you will need a hard shell, good round ball. Had no problem at all firing these powder rounds, but these have got an almost unbreakable shell in your fingers. So something like graffiti is going to be ideal for the HDR 68. So just be aware of that. It's not something you can probably take to your local field and just use whatever boxes they've got lying around. It is quite fussy when it comes to paint. So graffiti is one that we know that works with this. So guys, if you've got one and you've been using it for a while, then please leave a comment below to let us know what you think of it. And if you haven't got one and you're looking to get one, then let us know what you love about it as well. Yeah, and we'll see you next time.